Welcome to Lost in the Curve. Today it's how to customize a box fan, or I guess some people refer to them as window fans, but I don't use them as window fans. These are just everyday fans, and I don't know about you, but I've become addicted to fans. I like that white noise. I like the constant breeze. I'm not a big fan of the oscillating fans. I want that breeze on me at all times, so I've kind of reverted to these, and my old oscillating fans have broken. So this is what I've gone to. They seem to be the cheapest option in the big box stores as far as fans of this size, and this is what they look like out of the box. And bought this at a well-known big box store, about $19 and does a pretty good job. It's not like the old-timey ones where there was all metal and huge motor on the back and it was like hurricane force winds. These are much more tame and probably a lot safer, but I kind of still have a preference to those old-timey big rust buckets, but this will have to do because those have gone the way of to eBay, and they're not cheap anymore. So this is what it looks like, and let me get in with the custom version. What I did was real simple. It's this is just a Baltic birch plywood, and you could use a cheaper grade, and this is a 5-inch across here, and I just ripped these on the table saw. And you can do this just as well with a jigsaw. Put a straight edge on your length of plywood and just follow that straight edge, and you're going to get a probably nearly as close as this is to a straight edge with the jigsaw. It's just a little more concentration and it takes a little longer. And this Baltic birch doesn't require any sanding, so all I did was once I got this box constructed, was I rounded this off with a round over bit in the router. And once again, you don't have to do a round over. You can just sand off the edges, because this Baltic birch and all plywood is subject to splintering. So you're going to want to sand off the edges at least a little bit. What I did for the guards, this is fence wire, which is what I call it, and I use it quite a bit on different things around the house. But it's just the wire you put at the bottom of a chain link fence to keep it taut, and comes in handy for all kinds of things. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick, and made a frame out of that, then covered it with some hardware cloth, 1/4 inch hardware cloth, just folded over the excess, and it's done a fine job. One of the things you can unplug these. One of the beauties of these new plastic, very thin sheet metal and plastic units is the motor is a lot smaller, and you can customize these in a much simpler way. Especially, that's what I was going to say, when this particular model has a plug in the back, and that makes it much easier on the wiring. You don't have to mess with the wiring at all on this. There are some fans that still have the wiring that goes up to a control knob up here, and with this plug in the back system and the controls on the back, you don't have to worry about that at all. And that was kind of one of the things that convinced me to go forward and see what I could do. And probably the most precise measuring you're going to have to do is making sure that when you take the factory fan apart, is that you match up the drill holes. And I did have to go buy some longer machine screws to get that through this. It's a 3/4 inch plywood. So, and it's just a matter of taking your time, measure precisely, of course drill the hole, and I kind of just mimicked what was in the back of the fan. And I'll show you what I've done here to secure this. And these are just some wooden dowels and wooden wheels I had from past projects. And that's all these do is they're securing these guards to the fan box. And it's all just pressure fit. The thing I did have to do at the top was, there you go, hopefully you can see this, and I'll get a little closer, is I screwed in an eyelet screw, and that's just to keep this guard from sliding down, which was happening to me. And once the dowel goes through there, it can't slide down any further than where the dowel hits that. And as you can see on these corner pieces here, all this right now is just all glued up. So this was done just for more stableness. All this was just cut at a 45-degree angle, clamp this on with the wood glue in there, and haven't had a problem at all. The handle is just a hardware store, probably a screen door handle, but multi-use handle. And I really like this thing. It was kind of a project it's not really it's not necessary at all, because this factory fan will work just fine. But this to me looks a little more like a piece of furniture instead of an appliance. And since I have it around all the time, I have one in nearly every room, I thought, well, let's see what I can do with it. And this is what I came up with. And design this is very utilitarian as it is, even though it's a custom deal. But you could, if you had a large sheet of plywood, you could just cut out a circle and affix that plywood, the front and the back. You could screw it in to the corner piece. You could get a longer threaded rod and just maybe put a wing nut on each end, and come up with a fancier design for the grill. I thought of getting a barbecue grill and just affixing it, and that would work. They're not the cheapest thing. If you have some laying around, that would be a good option though. But so once you get this thing screwed into the back, and I'll show you how I let this in. This is a separate piece. Just cut some holes in there, and just made some little notches here on the top and the bottom. Cut these pieces out, and it just takes a little bit of measuring and some cutting, and then put a coarse thread drywall screws in there to hold it together. So those are the only screws in this thing. Everything else is glued up. Alright, well, hope you guys enjoyed it, and this thing does work, and I'll show you. And I'll be careful, try to. And it's just as quiet as it comes from the factory. So if y'all are big fan addicts like I am, I suggest you try something like this out if it strikes your fancy. If not, just leave it the way it comes from the big box and enjoy. Thanks again.